Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the QueenBee podcast. QueenBee podcast. I
I
know
was gonna
you're
say
stealing the show. You're stealing the show.
still in the show.
Welcome. This is gonna be like our first ever like mini pod. This is gonna be like a shorter episode than normal, but we just wanted to get some stuff off of our chest because we are going through a little bit of a debacle regarding a big event going on in the YouTube and small content creator space, and that is Streamas, which is Miyoung and Valkyrae's event. We just want to kind of go through, give you a quick rundown if you don't know what it is, just what it is, what's going on, and our opinions and reflections on it because we have some comments about it. So, I guess I'll just soft intro it real quick, and then we'll let you. I'll let it go over to you for your opinion. So, so also really quick, apologies for the lack of content recently. Queenie got sick, and then I got sick as soon as she got better. So we're still kind of fighting the sickness, but at least we feel a little bit better to make some content for you guys. But anyway, so what is Streamas? Basically, it was a competition hosted by Miyoung and Valkyrae. That was showcasing small content creators, and the winners could end up getting a new PC and a whole brand new setup, actually, which is, really nice of them. Very, very, they do not have to do this, right? But so you had to make a video 2 minutes long, following a certain form of criteria and content. I believe it was you have to show clips of yourself streaming, you have to introduce yourself, you have to help me out. What else did you have to do?
You have to have a video that is between 1 minute and 30 seconds to 2 minutes or less. Anything above that will not count. And the YouTube link can be private. It can be unlisted or public, but you had to fill out a Google form in order to even be considered for the contest. And the big thing that they wanted also was your viewer numbers for how many viewers you would expect in your stream.
And basically, after you filled all that out, it was kind of just put into a playlist and a different, they were aware of all the submissions, and they just went through them, and the whole big part of it was that they were going to watch all submissions. I'm emphasizing all now so you know what one of my gripes are in the future. And they we're going to go through that and pick one, and if they liked someone, they'd move them on to the next round, which is the top 100, which is something we'll be talking about very shortly. And then if you didn't make it on, it was still kind of cool because you got to be on Valkyrae's platform, Miyoung's platform, all this stuff. And so that's pretty much Streamas. And then the winners got the three winners were picked, and they would get new setups. So that's Streamas. Did I miss anything out?
The only other thing was that it was international, so it wasn't just for people in the United States. They would be willing to ship a PC anywhere, no matter the cost, because they wanted it to be a variety of different people that had the opportunity, and not just regular streamers who have face cams, but also VTubers and people who also remain anonymous. So it was a really great way for us small streamers to get the platform that some of us really need to move on, because something that Miyoung and Valkyrae said before the applications were even looked at, when they were talking about the guidelines, was that a lot of it is luck. Yes, you're working hard, but a lot of it is luck, and that this was going to be the avenue that some people would be able to have that they normally wouldn't be able to have, because Ray brought up the fact that she had 20,000 Instagram followers when she started. That boosted her platform. So that this was kind of a way to boost those people's platforms that deserve it. Yeah. And the big thing they wanted to talk about was that there's a lot of small streamers that deserve to be bigger and put in the effort to be bigger and full time, but that don't have the means to be able to get there. So that this is their way to do that.
So I want to emphasize that last part that you just said, right? That this was a platform to boost small content creators and to be able to offer them equipment that they might not have in order to move forward. So with that being said, the reason why I'm emphasizing that is we're going to... On theory, that is how this competition is supposed to work. But as we all know, as we're waiting for the top 100, 3 weeks after it started, we have come to know that is not the case. They had guest judges. They brought on guest judges, and it seemed like with every new judge, the criteria changed, which is fine because everybody is different and everybody has their own opinions. However, you can't host a competition of this caliber and have that happen, in my opinion. But
okay, so we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I'm gonna save that.
Let's start with a timeline, and then we'll go into our thoughts.
I'll let you do that.
So the timeline begins with us having 10 days to put in our applications through the Google form and to post our videos. VeeKay and I both individually chose to do our videos publicly so that we could also generate some of this into our channels. And then after that point, Miyoung posted 3 days in a row where there were going to be guest judges and their own opinions. And a golden buzzer moment as well. The golden buzzer, similar to America's Got Talent or any X Factor or any big name shows, where you put the golden buzzer, that judge gets one, and it's an automatic yes to the next round, the top 100. The way it worked the first day is there were a lot of kinks and things to figure out. Miyoung openly said herself that she was having a lot of tech issues trying to get everything organized in the living room, especially because they also had a sponsor. HyperX sponsored everything and was giving away things throughout the video. And I found that the first day that overshone the actual submissions that we got on that first day. And the big thing that Valkyrae and Miyoung said is they were not expecting that many entries. They got 700 that were usable, where the link worked, and they were all put into a playlist and they all followed the guidelines. So that's number one. And number two, after the first day, they mentioned that they weren't expecting it to take that much time. And both Jacksepticeye and Ryan Higa were very surprised at how long it took just to get through the small amount of videos that they did that first day. The second day, Ludwig and Hassan both showed up late. They were both still streaming when Valkyrae and Miyoung were beginning, which they both said was a little upsetting to them, but that it was kind of expected. They went through videos, they roasted the shit out of them, and they apologized for that. We'll talk about our thoughts on that later, but that's just basically subjective, neutral, what they said. And Ludwig and Hassan, they got through quite a bit of videos on this day, but not as nearly as many as they were hoping to. So on the third day, when they had the roomies, they just pressed play. They decided not to pause anyone at that point. And if they paused, it was only for big things, big like changes either to the guidelines, a golden buzzer moment, or something that they wanted to bring up. And that day, they got through a lot more. Ray left halfway through. Unbeknownst to everyone else, I honestly think it was the video that someone made because that's the guy who was proposing to her every day on Twitter. I think that might have been what set it off, but that's a subjective thing.
That was a weird thing. I don't know why the mods included that low key.
I also think, and that's a big part I'll get to in my thing, the mods were heavily involved with this from the get-go because they were not expecting this type of submissions. And then the day that we just got is basically from that third day, we were told that the next time that they are going to be streamed, it will be Miyoung reacting to about 100 videos, and chat is going to help vote for those people to move on to the next round. That is what Miyoung said at the very end. We hear nothing for a week because they have their charity streams with their roomies. We heard nothing, no information. So for a week, all these content creators are just waiting until the 22nd, where Miyoung and Valkyrae were supposed to go live, and they said Streamas got moved, and Valkyrae instead did a different stream, and Miyoung had a sponsored stream that day. The 23rd rolls around, supposed to start at 4 p.m. PST, it gets moved to 5 p.m. PST. When they go live, Ray is under the assumption that it's going to be revealing the top 100 people and watching those playlists, congratulating them, talking about their setups, and essentially talking about the second round. Miyoung, however, is going back to her original plan where chat is going to help vote. Ray is a little blindsided. She turns off her camera and mutes her microphone. They figure out what they're going to do. They originally go to the playlist. They showed this playlist live of the 65 yeses. So you can technically, she scrolled a bit too, so you could see that. And then they realized, okay, we're going to actually just show the website that their mod made. And one of the mods spent about an hour making this where you could vote on which streamer is going to be moving on to the top 100 out of a list of 70. There was about 35 people that get to go in from there. And as they were going through it, they decided that the last second to move on to a daily dose of internet, and everyone who was there for the Streamas was told that on the 24th, Christmas Eve, is when they are going to release the 100 playlist, and it will be, I believe, an image with everyone who made it through. Yeah. And that's the timeline we're playing with right now.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
That was actually spot on. That was spot on.
And I was trying to remain as neutral and subjective based on things that were actually said because and that's the thing that I think that I'm going to get into a lot, is that a lot of the applicants basically were rearrange their schedules to be there to see if their content would get the opportunity to be seen on their streams. right? So I was there every time. I was recording everything. So I have a bunch of footage of me just watching other people's content and waiting for my content, but also getting an opportunity to see the other applicants and see what it took to be able to make it to the top 100. And I think VeeKay could say the same.
Yeah. This is ironic. Like, I was there every day except the day that I was shown. So, you know, I knew that was going to happen. Like, that's just how my luck works, right? But no, and I agree because, like, I rescheduled a lot of things to be able to react to this Streamas stuff because, like, this could be a big thing. You know, we all, and someone made a good point last night. Obviously, by doing this, we are allowing them to farm us for content, right? I don't care. However, it should be a two-way street. I should be allowed to farm you for content too. So, like, yes, I was able to, but, like, Queenie's wasn't shown. So they used Streamas applications for content, but Queenie didn't get that return, right? She didn't get the opportunity to make content over Streamas like how she was promised. And again, I don't want to cut into Queenie's time talking about it because I will be talking about that heavily in my section. But
yeah, so now basically what we're going to do is I'm going to have a moment to speak. VeeKay's going to have a moment to speak, and then we're going to talk about the future. Yeah. And what we think is going to go down. And we're going to talk about a leak, which is kind of exclusive. But essentially, we both have very differing opinions on it, which is why we wanted to film the mini pod, because I think it's important as podcast hosts to see the different types of people that we're applying to Streamas and how people are reacting, especially because as of right now, the morning of December 24th, we are filming this. We're taking time out of our family holiday traditions to be able to film this, and which is what people are going to be doing later while they wait to see if they're in the top 100. And we'll see if that even gets posted, number one. But number two, I think it's important to see the duality of the applicants that are applying so that for the next Streamas, which they are talking about doing, I don't think it's going to happen personally, but them talking about doing a second one, that there is improvements and things that change in order to help benefit the creators that are going to be submitting themselves into that. So I'm going to quickly talk about my thoughts. I split it up into 6 points that I want to talk about. So the first is the negatives, and then I'm going to end on the positives because I think it's important to do that for me. That's just who I am. The first 3 things that I noticed, number one, the timelines, everything changing and having no schedule. During this time, I got very, very sick. I was very fortunate actually to get sick, believe it or not, because I had the time off in order to be able to sit and watch all the streams. Normally, I am a teacher by day, and I would be marking and planning things. I only had to plan one thing and focus on resting, so I was able to take the time to be able to see everything. And I actually, in my DMs on the days that VeeKay couldn't make it or VeeKay was busy, I was giving him a play-by-play on everything that was said. So even if I scroll up in my DMs, you'll be able to see every single thing that happened, including how much time I spent waiting, recording, and everyone else's pieces of the podcast, which is why at the end of VeeKay's video that he was able to get of them reacting, you can see my reaction because I was watching it at that time. Number two, I think overall, I think that it was a little unexpected to realize how far they've come. I think Ray and Miyoung had a really big woke moment when they realized just how many applicants they were getting, some of the things that they were hearing from small streamers, because it's been so long since they were a small streamer. It's been so far removed. And I think that realization hit them too late. I think that they both realized the time commitment that it was going to be a little too late. And I think that because of that, it really shaped the way that they responded to some of the people's content. And I also think it shaped the way that the other judges that were there critiqued and talked about some of the streamers that were popping up. So what I mean by that is I believe it was when Ludwig and Hassan came. I think Ludwig coming on was one of the best things for Streamas because that was the day I think they realized what they got themselves into, and Ludwig really put things into perspective for them. I really do. Number 3, the last final point of cons of Streamas is the backlash that I know that they're going to get from this. That's, I think, the biggest thing that I don't think they realized, and something that they do need to know, that I made my content. I spent, I want to say, a combined 28 hours on Streamas, and I understand that it's a contest and that I'm going to get rejected, but the deliverables of the contest in the actual blurb on the Google form was promised that someone was going to watch my content, whether it was on stream and then it was later revoked to off stream. We know for a fact that Valkyrae and Miyoung watched every single application, but the deliverable of it being off stream was a little bit disappointing to me, only because, yes, I went in knowing that I could get rejected and get a no, but I sat there for 3 weeks not knowing. And without the leak that we're going to be discussing, I would still right now not know that I'm a no. And that's a little disheartening that I spent all that time waiting, and just waiting, essentially, right? Waiting to get a no, when in another stream that's sponsored and has this big of a platform, I would have been told no a lot sooner. So those are the 3 things that I'm a little disappointed about, specifically because I really look up, and you can see my Streamas application, I really look up to Miyoung. I really look up to Ray. I find myself more in Miyoung's content just because I think it's really funny, her subathon and everything. Like, I just really vibe with that content. So seeing her take it seriously, she did take it seriously at the start more than Ray did. And then I think there was a swap where Ray started to feel more involved with it than Miyoung did. So I'm really hoping that they do release a statement on this, particularly on what is going to change for the top 100 people who are still waiting to see if they make it to the very end, number 1. But number 2, I really hope that if they are considering doing a second time, that they look at the constructive feedback from the small streamers who contributed entries, and they really rethink how they're going to do it. But I personally, after this, I don't think they're going to do it again, because number 1, not everyone knew they were doing it until they started streaming it. So they're going to get more applications, and I think they're going to need a real team behind it, which leads me to the mods. Their mods saved this entire Streamas, and I think that that's a positive. Their mods put in so much work into helping vet the applications, put up the playlist, go through the Google Forms, get this website going for voting, and I think that without the mods, that this would have gone down south a lot quicker. Number 2, I came into this with the idea that there's a good chance that I'm going to get a no, but it's an idea for me to edit my video for myself for the very first time. A lot of the videos that I've done in the past, I sent to my editor, I'm not Hanny, and I asked him for a lot of help. But with Streamas, because of the tight timeline I had, because I knew I had things coming up, I knew I had a very limited time to make my application. And so it really pushed me to edit myself, which I got really excited about. And I honestly really enjoyed the process. And it is one of my better performing videos because it tells a little bit about myself. And it also taught me a little bit about making sure I minimize my content time and using the time that I have wisely and creating really good hooks for my videos. So I had a learning experience when I was making the videos that I really do need to thank them for, because now going into 2023, I'm going to be sharing the editing load a little bit more with my editor, and I have a better perspective on creating content for my channel. And the third and final thing, yes, I was waiting for hours to see if my content would get done. Some of the advice that I got in the chat and some of the people I met, I can't not be mad at. They created an opportunity for me to connect with other people and network, which is one thing that they said that I need to do more. And a lot of the advice I got from Tech, from Ludwig, and some ideas from Leslie, which I love Leslie. Everyone knows how much I love Leslie. I think that it was really important to have that Roomies Day. I think it showed the duality of streaming from everyone's different perspectives and how everyone else did it differently. But I also think that the guest judges was a nice touch. I do think it needs more careful planning on their part in the future if they were to do that again. But the introduction of the guest judges is what made it better for me. I really do think so. And the people who did get shown, I really want to congratulate them, honestly, because in chat, a lot of those people, those thousands of people that were watching, a lot of people did go to check out their content, which I think is really important. And they did accomplish their mission for some people. And I wish it could have been for everyone, but rejection is healthy. I think rejection is good. I just wish I knew about that rejection sooner. And I'm going to end by saying that at the end of the day, this is charity for them. This is a contest. It's charity. This is something they're doing outside of their regularly work schedule. And I personally am not going to get angry at them for fulfilling their sponsorship deals and brand deals. Even though I had to wait longer, I think it's important to fulfill business deals. I just think and wish that there was more communication on scheduling and more thought into the fact that this is the Christmas season. and perhaps maybe starting it sooner so that it doesn't run into the problem where they have to fulfill their obligations.
Yeah. Well,
there we go.
If you guys were looking for a nice way to put it, there you have it. And if you don't want to hear the negatives, you might want to click off right now because I'm about to fucking go in. No,
oh God!
I'm kidding. No, I'm not. But no, honestly, you summed it up very well and professionally. I think it's something that I need to work on is just how to deliver my lines professionally, like you, because I listen, like when I and this is like this is the difference between working in public schools versus working in a prison, right? Like you have like
I work in private school. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Well, school system. You know what I mean? But like you have a certain set of like professionalism you have to hold, and I have that same set of professionalism, but like you have a censor, and mine is I hear the F-bomb out of every other word, right? You know what I mean? So like
you work in a prison.
Yeah,
you like it's prison life.
I did notice my public speaking has actually somewhat declined because of working in a prison, because it's just like how I feel like I'm much more like I take a relaxed approach to public speaking now, which I need to like kind of fix. But anyway, that's thank you for saying all that. While you were talking, I was typing a lot of stuff down.
Thank you. And also, I do want to point out at this point that it takes a lot of courage for me and you to be able to come out and say this, because they are such large creators. Mm-hmm. We know we're going to be receiving some type of constructive criticism and hate because of this. But I think it's important to share our real life experiences with this so that I don't know about VeeKay, but I'm doing this out of love. I'm not doing an appreciation for what they did for us and the fact that they are willing to acknowledge us, because a lot of bigger creators aren't willing to even do that.
And before I say like I'm going to drop like a nuclear bomb, like I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is like out of the same respect for you is I'm even going to I'm going to discuss this. Actually, I'm just going to start. Do you mind if I just
start? Right. Go for it.
So like my thing that I want to talk about, and before, because I already know this is what people are going to say. They're going to say, oh, VeeKay, you're salty because you didn't make the top 100. No, I'm not, because I wasn't even planning on making the top 100. Like Queenie said, I did this with the entire fact that I was going to get a no, right? But, and this is the big frustration for me, right? And again, I'm taking myself out of this context now, out of this competition. Like, yes, I was reacted to. I'm very thankful. I gained some traction because of it, and I really appreciate that. I'm never going to not be appreciative of that. But I'm also not a kiss-asser. I'm not going to be like, you did something for me, so I'm going to like hide your skeletons, right? I'm not that type of person. Like, you can ask all my IRL friends. I am the first person to be like, yo, I love you, bro. You fucked up, right? So, I'm just clearing that up. I'm not salty at all. I'm just going off the inconsistencies that I noticed, right? So, I have the same pros that Queenie have. I'm gonna just not even gonna the one thing I will reiterate is the mods. I literally have here the thankless work of the mods, because I feel like they're not getting a lot of love out of this situation because they did more work than the streamers did. I'm gonna hot take. They did more work than the streamers did. I don't care. They went through, vetted all the applications. I'm on my VeeKay focus, so you can't see Queenie's reaction, but Queenie was like taking a sip of hot coffee and taking a sip of tea there. But no, like I really do think the mods did a lot more than they were, shouted out for, which I think is really unfortunate, because you see a lot of mods do this as like that is their job. Like, you know what I mean? Like our job is teaching and working in a prison and working in a school. Their job is to sit and moderate a big streamer's, chat, right? Which is not, I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying that job is like a very thankless job in the content creation world, right?
It is. I agree.
So, again, all the other pros, I agree, being shown on the third day, shout out Saikuno and Lily Pichu. They understood the assignment. Fuzly as well. Sorry, I forgot Fuzly.
I love Leslie. Sorry.
It's okay. They understood the assignment. Here is my cons, right? I want to again emphasize on the timing and schedule. We were in a Discord call last night, and so many people, including myself, canceled real life things to see if they move on. and just to be treated with the respect of, oh, we're going to watch 10 tonight, even though they know they have 700 to go through. We're going to watch 10 tonight on stream, 700 off stream. That's not fair, especially when your main thing that you're pointing out for this competition is exposure. That was a promised thing that was going to go over on stream, was all the applications. And here's some criticism. If you don't want to go through 700 applications, open it on a Sunday, close it on a Tuesday. Have a 2-day opening period, because the people who genuinely will go for the competition and genuinely want to benefit from the competition will be aware of it and will do it within that short time span. That way you have 200 applications, and that's only, and I'm not saying that it's not a lot of work. It is absolutely a lot of work. However, I'm not going to be that guy that says get a real job, but if this is your job, you need to do your job. Right? If you're going to promise something and it's going to benefit your stream, because let's be honest, like, we, by applying, opened and gave our consent to use us for content, right? That is your content. You farmed millions and millions and millions of dollars from Streamas alone, probably. You have a sponsor, you gave away items, and you got paid to give away those items. You got paid for, 12,000 to 20,000 concurrent viewers at that time with all the ad rolls. Like, you can't tell me that they are benefiting this more than we are, which is normal. That's going to happen. I'm not saying it isn't. But if you know that going in, the least you can do is at least give it some effort. Not watch. Last night was what did it for me, right? I was already a little frustrated. Last night, it was what did it for me. How do you not know you're releasing the top 100 that day after advertising it, after people made plans on the 23rd of December? How are you not going to announce it, right? Secondly, how are you then going to make a new goal for the stream to lower it down, to lower the 70 maybes down to the 35? Say that, okay, we're going to watch the 75 or the 70 maybes, and then chat will vote. Watch 2 submissions and be like, nah, I'm bored. You know what, chat, this is you, Daily Dose of Internet. To me, that's disrespectful, because, and I'm going to throw this out there, right? Ray and Miyoung both are very big advocates of mental health, right? If you have mental health, I'm not feeling it today, I'm going to not stream, I'm blah, 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 right? Okay, what about our mental health? What about our anxiety that we had waiting to know these results for the contest, and then getting false promises and getting false results and getting, different criteria on the different day, right? I was talking to one of the applicants who's on the Maybe stream, and she was skipped over on day 2. She was the next one after the last applicant. It was queued up. She was ready to go. They said, nope, we're done. Okay. Obviously, she wasn't that mad about it because, it has to end at some point, obviously. But then when they said, we're watching all, specifically, oh yeah, by the way, I would show you, but they deleted the VOD. So, a little sketch there. Secondly, they said, we're going to watch all 70 maybes, and then chat's going to vote. And then once we watch all 70s, chat will vote on this website that was made in 1 hour by a mod who probably was not paid for it, or paid very, not generously for it. But, still being the mod, did their job, cool, whatever. Got to her again after saying that they were going to watch all maybes so chat could vote, and then said, you know what, chat, do this on your own. Go watch all the applications, vote. So now the integrity of the whole competition is fucked, because now it's a popularity contest, which was what was not supposed to be in the beginning, was the popularity contest. It was supposed to be judged by the 3 judges. Y'all fucked that up. So now it's judged by chat, and then y'all fucked that up again. So now it's a popularity contest. Thankfully, she's in a good Discord server who's showing support for her and voting for her. But again, she was the next video, and they said, we'll react to Daily Dose of Internet. True crime. Bro, you just made millions of dollars. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating. Hundreds and thousands of dollars off of us reacting to your content and trying to watching your content to see if we make it onto the next round. The least you can do is just show the applications. So that's like my number one gripe.
And sorry to jump in here, but you brought up 2 points that I think are important. Mm-hmm. Number 1, ads. A lot of people in Miyoung's stream subscribed to her so that the ads wouldn't show up if their video was being shown.
So point proven.
So that was number one.
They gained,
and then
yeah.
And number two, you don't know what people are going through. I don't know what they're going through, but I'm currently in the process where that Wednesday I lost someone very close to me, and I'm going through a very large grief spell, and I was still watching every day.
Yeah.
Because it was giving me the hope that, okay, maybe one day they'll see me, and they never did. And I understand rejection is key, but like I could have also been with my family during that time. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. Sorry to interrupt. I just think it's important to reflect a little bit on what you said there.
Oh yeah,
No, it's okay.
Great points. Especially with the subs, like you made mad money off of us. The least you can do is just provide what you promised. That's all I'm asking for. So the next,
or if they weren't going to provide what they processed, tell us earlier.
Yeah, don't tell us on December 23rd. Sorry. Okay. The next thing I want to... So I talked about the disrespect, towards the submissions. Not living up to the promises given to the small streamers. Listen. At one point, y'all were on your grind too. Right? You all were busting out content, figuring out how to do all, You were playing the game. Like, we're playing the game now, right? We're trying to work the algorithm, make content, farm views, right? You might think that, like I almost said like VeeKay. What Queenie said was, yes, we are charity to you, right? But like on the flip side, like there's a difference between doing a charity stream for an organization and a charity stream for your community. There's almost a higher standard for the community because no matter how much money you raise for that charity, it's a good thing, right? Like you did your best to raise money for this charity. When it's your community, you're putting you could be changing people's lives and you're playing almost like the power of God, right? Like you are the make or break for someone. And if you're going to be the make or break for someone, the least respect you can do is just show everybody the same, like judge everyone on the same basis, right? Obviously, we said about the different judges coming in, and I agree with Queenie that Ludwig and Hassan was the best thing to happen in this competition because Ludwig, was harsh, but I think the people that got butthurt from Ludwig are the people that aren't going to make it in this community because this is a cutthroat community, right? Like, obviously, you have to be on your top game and you have to be willing to accept criticism in order to move on. The other thing that Queenie brought up was rejection, right? There's a difference between receiving rejection and receiving a rejection unknowingly. Like, how many people found out they didn't make it because they changed the criteria or they just didn't show what was promised and then say, no, I think that's going to be a no, right? That was what was the catalyst for everybody. Was everybody who was shown was at least going to get an answer, yes, no, maybe, or golden buzzer. You had now, 600, I won't say 600, like 500 submissions, maybe not have an answer because you didn't show them on stream like you said you were going to. Didn't like that. Changing criteria, again, if you look at the day 1 yeses compared to the day 3 yeses, there was a huge entire gap. Like there was like a couple very unmotivated, scuffed setups, scuffed streamers, but because they liked a certain thing that one of the hosts liked, they got in. Whereas day 3, when I went in, I feel like I followed my instructions. They said that I was one of the few that had, calling my community a certain name. But yeah, I got a no because I had 3 monitors, so my setup was too nice. I might have 3 monitors, but 2 of them are 30 gigahertz refresh rate, like 720p. Like I don't know. You can't judge that competition off of someone's setup, in my opinion. I know that obviously it is for a new setup, but you don't know what my specs are. You don't know what my, you know what I mean? And I think that alone should be not a disqualifying factor. But the last...
Sorry to interrupt. I also think it's important to note, Yvonne said it when your application was going on. You could have been borrowing someone else's setup specifically for your Streamas application.
Yeah, literally.
Which, if you really think about it, that's not the camera you use when you're streaming.
No, it's not. That's why, and Fuslie made that a point. She was like, oh, your camera quality is really good, but your stream is kind of shitty. Yeah, because I'm using a C290. Yes, it's a 1080p, but the bit scaling on it is not great. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't want to, like I said, I'm not salty that I didn't get in. I'm salty for my friends who weren't given what they promised. That's what I want to say. And then the final thing that made me actually lose a lot of respect for Valkyrae was the way she acted throughout this entire competition. If you don't want to be there, say you don't want to be there. Simple as that. Don't be sitting through like this every application. You know, like, then it just feels like, okay, you don't want to be here. You know what I mean? You're not getting, you know, the way she acted towards Miyoung last night when she found out it wasn't the top region. Hold on, I gotta mute. We gotta talk. Click. Like, come on, bro. Miyoung's doing way more in this than you are. Low key. I'm now safety's off, triggers off. Low key, Miyoung did way more than you did. I'm gonna be real. You were the face of this competition because you probably had the more clout. And you didn't do what I think you should have done as an ambassador for this. For this, I'm gonna be real. Hate me all you want. I just, as someone who follows Valkyrae, who loved Valkyrae, who loved their content, I think her true colors really showed last night. And I think that, you know, you really shouldn't believe what's in front of the camera all the time, which, you know, parasocial friendships, right? Like, I think some of that is a little true in that case. I'm again, prove me wrong. You know, I'm the small creator, so I'm going to get more hate than you are, but prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to say about that. I could go harder, but I'm not going to, because I think, honestly, it's not worth my energy. It's not worth my time. I just don't like my friends and my fellow smaller content creators get disrespected like that, because at one point you were there too. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. So we're on the VeeKay Queenie cam again. So we're both up.
Okay. Yeah, obviously two very different opinions, but I think it's important for us both to speak on it, because they need to understand the reactions that they're going to get from the community and how wide of a different reaction it's going to be. And I do think going into the future, thinking about this, number one, something that I waited till now to say is they showed the full playlist of the 65 yeses, but they only showed the top of it. How many people, and I'm not going to say anything, but how many people in the chat who applied do you think screenshotted that and tried to then find that playlist on YouTube?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I think that there are still going to be people who don't know that they are no's, but VeeKay and I could clearly see from that playlist, based on what she put on live, that we are both no's, right? And that's okay. It's fine to be no's, right? Because that's a part of the competition. But I do think the fact that there are people that still don't know their no's, and now on their Christmas Eve, when they're with holidays, when they're with family, are now just waiting, I think that needs to be addressed almost immediately. I do think that the next stage of the competition, I'm still going to be watching for, because I think it's important for me as a content creator to keep growing, keeping myself out there, connecting, networking, and seeing what those streamers do that then I could also bring into my stream.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that everyone's going to feel the same way. I honestly think they're going to get a lot of people who click off.
I kind of don't feel the same way. The only reason why I'll be watching is just because I just want to support the people that I know that made it onto the next round. That's the only reason, low key.
Mm-hmm. I do think the one benefit of this is that we got to network with some people who also stream.
Amazing people, yeah.
Amazing people. And those people deserve the same kind of respect, especially those people that moved on. Mm-hmm. I hope that for their sake that they change the competition so that there's more... Not change the competition. They change their communication around the competition so that there's more, that people know their expectations. Their expectations are set, number one. And number two, I do think that the viewers who are coming in and don't know really what's going on, that they know what's going on as well. I think it's important for them to see that. The future for us in our pod, in our Streamas, I know I'll be still watching. I don't know if you will, but unless it's for like to support the people that we know.
I'll be like in support, but I don't know.
Yeah. I genuinely don't think this is going to be another round 2 unless they bring in other creators to help. Yeah. I don't think that I will say this. I really hope that because of this competition, that bigger creators don't view small creators and people like us who are micro. I hope that they don't stop essentially not supporting us. But I hope that those larger creators don't see this as a thing that they shouldn't do. I really hope that this contest and the people who came, like Leslie, Lily, Saikunu, Miyoung, Hassan, Ludwig, Jack, Ryan, I hope that their view on smaller content creation isn't skewed by this small little glimpse. Because at the end of the day, it is a small little glimpse. It's not the full picture. And I hope that the viewers who got to watch, the thousands of people who watched this go through, that they don't also have a skewed version of small content creators now.
Yeah, and to add on to that, if you are going to do something like this, see it through. Because this was another thing that I forgot to add in that I'm just going to add in really quick. How do I have the time to work full-time, work my part-time job, go to my master's school, and still do charity streams? I still do charity streams. I still give back. I still do all that. And I still live up to those promises. Am I tired as hell? Hell yeah. But if you're going to do it, see it through. Especially if that is what we're viewed as a charity case. See it through. Seriously. Because you don't want people like me who might like leave Valkyrae's community because they have a bad taste in their mouth. You don't want that. Right? So
I also think it's important to note, at least here, because you brought up a really good point about seeing it through. I think that also letting the people know that there are going to be a lot of upcoming sponsorships for you. Like once they realized how many applications they got, they should have very openly with the community said, hey, we have other obligations. These are the days that we're committing to this week. After that, we will make an announcement as to when we can commit again.
Yeah. Because
otherwise it was just every day checking my notifications, putting on notification bell to see, right? Like these are people
that's exhausting.
It's exhausting, but our livelihoods are technically at stake, right?
Yes.
Like it to me, it was more than just coming for clout. Like I wanted to know if my content would get viewed, right? And like if it did, what type of advice it got, right? Or if I made it onto the next round. So I'm hoping that the people who do move on, the top 100, get the respect of that. And if not, and if Valkyrae and Miyoung decide to shut down the contest, that at least they do it in a way that those contenders for the top 100 get the exposure that they deserve.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. This is no hate towards the people that moved on. Obviously, this is just towards the organization of the competition. That's literally it. Anyone who's going on, you have our full support. We're not trying to shit on you. We're not trying to shit on the competition. Well, kind of. But we're not.
No, we're not shitting on the competition.
Well, right.
We're giving constructive feedback based on our experiences. We're sharing our experiences, right? True. And at the end of the day, if they're saying we need to expect rejection, they need to be ready to take our criticisms.
Yeah.
And understand that we're not doing it out of hate. We're doing it because, well, at least for me, I'm doing it because I care about them and because I genuinely am a part of their community. It's parasocial as shit, just so you know. I'm very aware of that. But I'm a supporter of them. And I don't want them to come under fire for this continuously over and over again to the point where Ray wants to shut down her stream and completely move on. Right? Yeah. That shouldn't have happened, and it did. So what can we do? What can we do as small micro creators? We can get the information out there. We can be neutral. We can share both of our things, and hopefully that creates change, at least for the people who applied.
Yeah, and honestly, maybe I'm just, again, a little still open wound, and maybe I went a little too hard on Valkyrae, but that's just it's important. That's the initial feeling that I got, especially hearing how hurt some of the participants were last night in this Discord call, that you decided to go on Daily Dose of Internet instead of living up to your promises. That I think that's why I'm so mad, is because you don't realize how that impacted other people. And now I'm done. So I'm gonna wrap this up because Merry Christmas Eve.
We gotta go. Merry Christmas Eve, everyone.
I know we said this is a mini pod. We're a little on 45 minutes, so like 15 minutes shorter than normal. But you all have a happy holidays, and you bet your behinds that QueenBee podcast in 2023. Great new things are coming. More guests. More higher production value. It's going to be so great, and we can't wait to see you guys in 2023, although we might have a podcast up next week. All right, have a good one, everybody.
And just before everyone leaves, don't forget to like this. Check out our regularly scheduled content on TikTok, Instagram. All of our socials are down below. And if you have a question for us that you would like us to answer, please put it in the comments below, because at the beginning of every podcast, we answer questions from comments.
Yes. So oh my God. Yes. Thank you so much. All right. Bye, everybody. Love you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.